It's time, baseball fans, enthusiasts, and devotees, for Dispatches from Detroit, featuring the man that gives Tiger fans the news, the scoops, and the straight dope on all things Motor City, the big guy.
I do make my own coffee at home, but again, they make pretty good coffee at McDonald's. That's not some kind of testimonial. It's just today I like a nice hot cup of coffee. Don't want to make it myself. Thanks for tuning me in today. I'm the big guy, and you're watching Cardboard Meditations Dispatches from Detroit. I know what you're saying. Where have you been? You're late. You've missed out on the big 3 games in L.A., and I'm sorry about that. There was a lot of things going on. I was watching a lot of baseball, devouring baseball cards as they came up, and I forgot to do some of the other work here. And so I want to talk about, first of all, let's talk about that 3-game series in L.A. They lost all 3, as you probably know, but I watched all 3, and they didn't look that bad. They were in the game almost all the way to the end. Pitching was pretty good for Detroit, except for the relief pitching. I was a little bit worried. Some of the runs that were being given up by the guys late in the games. Also, the runners in scoring position, which I expected to really just go at that in depth today, because I forget how many people were over the 3 games. I think 17 people, 17 guys in scoring position, and they never pushed them across the plate. But that all changed as of last night. We'll talk about that in a minute. Scott Bentley on Locked In on Tigers. He made a comment, and I was trying to find it on the internet. I'm not sure where he got it from, but he said that that the Tigers had more base runners than the Dodgers did. And that should tell you something. If they were scoring those guys, there would have been some different outcomes. But like I said, we're not going to worry about that too much, because something happened last night that was pretty good. Oh, and if you watch the one game, where I can't even get into it too deeply, but I'm not sure how it would have changed the game. But Manny Margot is coming around third, and he scores at first, but then they called him out after they did a replay, and there's a lot of people saying he was safe. Some are saying he was out. I looked at it the very first moment I saw him do it, he was safe. When they showed the replay, I thought he was out. It looked like the catcher, Will Smith, hit him on the bottom of his foot, which came up like this, just about the time he was placing his hand on the plate. It looked like the tag came on before he was touching the plate. That's what it looked like to me. I don't know what they saw in New York when they checked it out, but they keep showing this picture of the catcher's glove tagging him on the backside of his thigh and not showing where his hand is. That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, you ever watch On Foul Territory? You can see it right here on YouTube with Tiger Territory. Cody and Kieran, they got into a little contested conversation regarding that, and it was entertaining to watch. You could tell neither one of them was going to convince the other what the outcome was. But Torque looked good. I think he walked 3 times. That's a patient young man right there, and that was not what we saw last year, and that was really good to see, very encouraging. So that was one of the good things that came out of the 3-game loss. There were some other things too. I was impressed with Mr. Kreidler and Mr. Margot. They both seemed to play quite well. In fact, Margot was hitting really well. Gleyber Torres hit this home run, and he took off running out of the box. Everything looked good. He rounded first, going into second base, and he started holding his hip, or his back. It's probably more of a better description. And I couldn't tell by watching him if that was probably something caused by the hitting, the stress of swinging the bat, or if it was from the running, if it was hustling down first base and making a turn. I couldn't tell, but at this point, he's on the DL. I guess 10 days, that's what they're saying. That's not too long. And I don't think we're going to have to worry too much. But, every time we get into spring training, it seems like this is the area when people get injured with silly little things. So I think Gleyber's going to be okay. I think he's going to be fine. So I was going to say something about last night's game. It was the Tigers' first win of the season, and felt really good. It was so encouraging watching them play against LA. LA is a good team. They're going to beat a lot of people this year. And Detroit played well against them. And just with the runners in scoring position and some relief pitching, everything looked really well. But last night, Jackson Jobe came out, superstar. Well, close anyway. He came out and won his first game. He gave up 3 runs. And he looked like I'm kind of tamped down my expectations a little bit because he was not coming out looking like, vintage Verlander. He did not look like that. He looked like a kid that just blossomed out of the minor leagues and is now in the major leagues and is learning his way. And he still has dominant stuff, and he took care of business, gave up 3 runs, but the Tiger offense spotted him 6 runs in the first. So those runners in scoring position that I was real concerned about, they were moving guys around, station to station. Some came in on home runs. It was refreshing to see. Now, toward the end of the game, the Tigers were up at that point 9-4, and they started moving base runners around. It got to be they started moving people around, and I believe Cal Raleigh was on. And I forget who. Well, I think it was Julio Rodriguez hits a home run off Brett Herter, and they were getting very, very close to catching up to the Tigers, and it was making me sweat. Okay, that's what's going on with the Tigers. Again, Vierling still on the DL, Meadows still on the DL, and now, of course, Gleyber Torres is on the DL, but I don't think he's going to be on there. I'm saying DL. I know the proper term. All the smart guys in class are calling it the IL now. So they're on the IL. I want to talk to you about something that's coming up in Novi pretty soon. It's the what's that called? It's the Detroit Sports Spectacular. It's put on by the same people that do the Chicago Sports Spectacular. If you've never been to that show, it is top notch. And I went to the Novi version of that show, and it's in Detroit. Last year, and I went on the last day. I went on a Sunday, so it wasn't real crowded, but man, there's some beautiful, beautiful cards there. A lot of vintage stuff, a lot of new stuff too. They even had some game used stuff there, and I'm not talking about the game used cards. I'm talking about game used jerseys, game used bats, game used gloves, and a couple of bases that I saw. And that's kind of the stuff I like to collect. I'm planning to go to that, and one of the things I didn't plan on was not being able to go with my date. His name is Bob, and he's watching this, and he's going, shaking his head and holding his head. He goes, I'm not your date. He is my date. He's the guy I go to all the card shows with, and I'm just making him uncomfortable right now. But he's going to take a day off, so I'm trying to think maybe I should take my wife. Take my wife over there and check it all out. There were some big-time dealers there, and they got some autographed people there. Barry Sanders is going to be there. Bill Lambier. Aiden Hutchison is going to be there, probably with a cane. Jared Goff, Reggie Jackson. There's a lot of people that are going to be there signing autographs. And I kind of wonder, should I take my wife? Could she be my date on my baseball card journey? Let me know in the comments below. That'll be a fun one. Let's start talking about my Tiger Tail card of the day. I have got a card here from 1951, and it is George Kell. Now, George Kell played for several other teams. He played for, he came up with Philadelphia, and he ended his career with Baltimore. But in between there, he played for Boston, and he played for the Chicago White Sox. But he really made his money in Detroit. And I mean, when he made his money, he put up the stats while he was in Detroit. And to give you an indication as to what I'm talking about here, is he beat out Ted Williams for the batting title in 1949. Now, here's the stats. This guy, in 1949, had a 3.429 average. Ted Williams, 3.427. He beat him out by 2/100ths of a point. So, yep, that was a big deal. He was a 10-time All-Star. One of the things that I enjoyed about him was his broadcasting. We were very lucky here in Michigan to have George Kell and Ernie Harwell and Ray Lane and Paul Carey and later on there's Al Kaline and Jimmy Price. We were very lucky. We had a lot of people here. And going back even further, there's Harry Heilman and so many other ones. I just feel lucky that we had those guys. This is a great card. And I want to go over one thing about this card. And it's not just this card. But if you'll notice, I'm going to try and get a little closer, but I don't want to lose focus with this camera. But if you can tell, look around the outsides of his uniform, and if you can, maybe his face and his arm. There's a black outline completely around his image and his glove. And that style was called inking or line work, which is what I remember it being called. Line work, and what it does is it defines that image. It defines it and kind of brings it out. It gives you some contrast between that and the background. Now, it's usually used because at that point you can work your the color process a little easier if you've got that outline. But it does lead to a very non-realistic image. It's almost cartoonish. And back in the old days of the people that created fine art and the people that created illustrations, they were kind of at odds. And the fine art folks always looked down on the illustration people and kind of snobbish about it because they kind of did this outline sort of thing. And if you were a coloring book kid, did you ever draw around the images on your coloring book in black and then fill in the color? I did. I know a lot of people that did. I thought that was funny. But the reason I'm bringing all this up is because I know why you like your baseball cards. I know why you like the ones that you actually love. I know that sounds silly, but what you love isn't necessarily what other people love. But I know why you love what you love. And I'm going to be putting a show together here on Cardboard Meditation that kind of goes over that. And it's interesting. And it talks about the design, a lot about the design of cards. All right, George Kell used to start out with, "It's a bright, sunshiny day in downtown Detroit at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull." I loved him on the radio, and I loved him when he was with Al Kaline.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Cleveland. I'm George Kell, along with Al Kaline. These two ball clubs just about ready to go in the first of two here tonight. It's been raining most of the day in Cleveland. About 3:30, 4 o'clock this afternoon, Al, it didn't look like we'd ever play a ball game here.
Well, we landed early this morning. It was raining, and it continued to rain right before we got here to the ballpark. But actually, George, the players would rather see an overcast day. It's a bright, sunny day right now, and it's going to be very tough to see for the first 4 or 5 innings. And anybody who can throw the ball hard, it's going to be extremely tough to hit.
You'll get a chance to see it in a moment. The sunshine is just past the pitcher's mound, which means the pitcher will be delivering out of the sun.
And that is it. Thank you for tuning in. Dispatches from Detroit. I'll try to keep up on these a little bit better now. And we got the Casey Mize pitching this evening. And let's just hope Casey's spring training just goes right into the season and he kind of dominates the Mariners this evening. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. I want to know what you think about me taking my wife to the baseball card show. Talk soon.
Go get 'em, Tigers! This concludes your dispatch from Detroit. Remember to like and subscribe for more content from the 313, the D from the Motor City.